Yes, I am in my snug rug. Yes, I am in my pyjamas, but that is what you get when we have a pay-per-view that is available to watch on UK time. You get post-work, comfy Ewan McQuaid. Hello and welcome to FTTR. I am Ewan McQuaid, and today we are talking about WWE Crown Jewel 2024, the big event from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, which has the crowning of the Crown Jewel champions. Now, what is a Crown Jewel champion? I still don't really know. I don't think a lot of people knows. I don't even think Triple H knows. But we had the crowning of him. We had a 7-match show, which is very different. Very different. We've been asking for more matches on these shows. And overall, did Crown Jewel deliver? I'm going to say no. But I also feel like I'm in a void. I feel like I'm almost being like gaslit by just how hot WWE is right now. And I feel like I'm not on that train. And maybe I'm just not getting it. Maybe the in-ring style just isn't for me anymore. But yeah, not a lot of stuff on this show hit for me. Whether it be the opening match, whether it be the main event, whether it be the women's title Crown Jewel thing. There was just a lot of stuff on this show that I didn't particularly vibe with. It just didn't click. And I don't know if I feel like, is that me? Or is it the product? In my opinion, it's the product. It's not being as entertaining as I think it should be. But I don't know. I feel like I'm always questioning myself and what I like coming out of Crown Jewel. I'm like, do I like this? And that is a weird thing to say because I've felt it for these past few shows, Bashing Berlin, Bad Blood, and now this, that I just think they're mid, and I don't really know how else to put it. I just think they're mid in terms of the output that they give us, in terms of the in-ring quality. Yeah, Crown Jewel wasn't it for me, unfortunately. But we're going to dive into it. We're going to dive into the show, the matches, every match, every angle, everything that happened, the way a review works, starting with the opening video package, which was pretty good. It was fine. And then we got the Bloodline versus the Bloodline. New Bloodline of Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Solo Sikoa versus Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, and Roman Reigns. And I thought this match was not very good. I didn't think this was very good at all. In terms of a 6-man, in terms of trios action, this was just like the most by-the-numbers standard tag team affair that you could picture. Cut and paste. Like, there was a little bit of interesting stuff with the dynamic between Jey and Roman, with Jey feeling like he is now his own man and tagging in Jimmy rather than tagging in Roman and causing that kind of friction. But other than that, this just fell flat. I like the entrances. I like Roman coming out, getting his big elongated entrance. I like Jey coming out after Roman. I think that's a really nice touch. But in terms of the match, this was just nothing. This was absolutely nothing. This was just all build for Roman Reigns to come in, run wild a little bit. We didn't really get a stare down with him and Jacob Fatu. We didn't really get him sort of interacting with like Tama Tonga or Tonga Loa or anything like that. It was just by the numbers stuff. And then the finish, I thought was a bit of a wet fart because you have Solo Sikoa double spike Roman and pin him completely clean. You had a weird ref bump, and when the ref bump happened, I rolled my goddamn eyes because I was like, oh, okay. And the crowd starts chanting for Sammy, and I was like, okay, that's fair enough, absolutely, sure, I guess this makes sense. And then nothing came of the ref bump, really. Nothing came of the ref bump at all. And yeah, Solo pinned Roman, not Jacob, which I think was what everyone wanted. It's Solo. build into that Solo versus Roman match that I don't really want to see. And then we get these sort of bloodline drama stuff. The new bloodline starts beating down Roman. They're beating down Jay. Sami Zayn comes down to make the save. And it looks like he's going to embrace Solo. Instead, hugs him into an exploder suplex. I thought that was really cool. That was really nice. And yeah, you have Solo in the middle of the ring. You have all 4 members of the OG bloodline in the corners. And they all sort of run at him. And Sami overshoots, minus Solo ducking. And he looks like he absolutely clocked Roman Reigns in the face with a boot. And yeah, that's where we get the friction from going forward, is this tension between Sami and Roman, which is interesting, but at the same time, the way everyone was facing it, kind of, they could sort of clearly see that it was like an accident and it didn't necessarily mean to happen. And yeah, I just thought it was clunky. And I thought it was weird. And I'm going to say it, and this is where everyone's probably going to dislike the video. I just, at this point, do not care about the bloodline. Like, I cannot care less about the bloodline. There are so many other things in WWE that I would rather see than the bloodline. And it's, yeah, not for me. And it's hard when it's like the focal point of everything at this point. So, yeah, opening match, not for me. And technically, I think they should have won earlier because there was definitely a 3 count at one point. Definitely a 3 count. Next up, we got the big 4-way tag team match for the women's tag team titles, as Damage Control took on Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, took on Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, and took on Metaphor. This was fine. I thought this was enjoyable. I really enjoyed this at the start when we had Io Sky and Bianca Belair going at it. I think they just have amazing chemistry. I think that's a WrestleMania main event waiting to happen, and they are the sort of, they're the best part of this match. In my opinion, it's Io Sky and Bianca Belair. You had a bit of sloppiness here and there. Io Sky fell off the ropes. You had things looking very choreographed and sort of people waiting for their spots. But you had some interesting stuff in there as well. You had this really cool spot with Kairi Sane and Lash Legend where she sort of lifted her, just picked her up from the waist and chucked her onto her own shoulders. That looked incredible. That looked so good. And you had the comedy stuff in there with Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, which I really, really appreciated. I thought that was really, really fun. I like Chelsea Green in this role where she went up to the top rope. She was scared to do it from the top rope, went down to the second one, scared to do it from there, and then just decided to crossbody everyone. I think that was really, really sort of entertaining spot and put over her character. Then you had the sort of miscommunication at the finish where Jade Cargill sort of pulls Chelsea Green down and Piper Niven splashes Chelsea Green instead, and then a Doomsday Device for the win. Yeah, I thought this was nice. This was nice. I didn't think this was incredible. I didn't think it was terrible. I think it would have been a really good main event of Raw. Next up, we got Seth Rollins versus Big Bronson Reed in what was a match that I was really enjoying. I was really looking forward to this match. I thought this would be really, really good. And it started off really hot for me. I think Bronson Reed is great. I really like Seth Rollins just running after him, going up against him on the ramp. I thought that was really, really, it got the match off to a hot start. Then you had a bit of the working over. You had a tsunami from Bronson Reed pretty early in the match. Then he went for another one, and you got a stomp from Rollins. And then you sort of had them just working over each other, which I thought was entertaining. I thought it was good. And then you had some of the stuff with the steel steps on the outside. You had Seth hitting multiple stomps to get the win here. He sort of did the thing where he clocks the knee of Bronson Reed. He falls and he smashes his head into the steps while he's holding him. I thought that was good. Then you had stomp, and then he hit the super finisher, the top rope stomp from WWE 2K24 on Bronson Reed and pinned him. And that's where my issue comes into this. I don't think Seth Rollins needed this win. I don't think he needed it in the slightest. I think coming off the loss from Braun Strowman, I think Bronson Reed really needed this to sort of elevate him up there. But now he's lost in a pretty decisive way. He looked cool at the end when he managed to get up and he had the blood sort of trickling down his face. But at the same time, I feel like he needed this because now he's probably just going to slot back into Intercontinental Championship picture with Bron Breakker, where I feel like on the sort of Carnage tear up that he's been doing recently, he's a world title contender and he could easily slot in there against Gunther. So yeah, weird finish, but overall I enjoyed this match. And then for the Crown Jewel Championship, we had Liv Morgan taking on Nia Jax. I've said my piece about Liv Morgan. I don't think she's a very good champion at all. And I don't think she should have won this match either. I think that was also the wrong call. And I don't think this match was that good, really. I'm just so over the Judgment Day as an act. I liked when Tiffy came down. When Tiffany Stratton came down and looked like she was going to cash in, I did enjoy that bit of it. But we've seen it before. And then you have the Judgment Day come out. When I say Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio comes out and Raquel comes out. And there you have them taking the briefcase off Tiffany Stratton. And then Nia Jax inadvertently knocks out Tiffany Stratton. Then you have Dom sliding the briefcase in, Liv hitting the Oblivion and beating Nia Jax. I just don't think this was very good. It just wasn't very good. Like, oh, it just could have been, I don't know, I'm just picturing like it could have been Io and Bianca in this spot. Like, I get they're telling the story of Nia and Tiffany Stratton, and that's fine. But I just don't think this was a very good match. Don't think it was a very good match. Don't think it was a particularly good angle. And the championships mean nothing. So it is what it is at the end of the day. Then after a lot of negativity in this video, business finally picked up for me. Because we had Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. And I really like this. So what happened was you had Randy Orton come to the ring and Kevin Owens immediately jumps him. As Voices is playing, he hits him in the back of the leg with a chair and they just start brawling. There's no sort of match start. There's no ring bell or anything like that. They just start brawling and they're beating each other up, throwing each other on the announcers' tables. And it was really, really fun. It just felt chaotic. Then you had people like the producers, like Jamie Noble comes down and Kevin Owens pushes him away. You had Adam Pearce and, oh God, why am I blanking on his name? Nick Aldis come down and Randy Orton hit an RKO on Adam Pearce, making Adam Pearce look like a total wet wipe. And they just brawl into the crowd. Kevin Owens knocks Randy Orton out with a piece of tech, puts him on a table, and hits an elbow drop through a table, and then we fade away. It was just a really cool brawl, which I found so entertaining. I was like, okay, this, I'm enjoying this because it was fun, it was interesting, it was different, and it felt fast-paced. And I was like, okay, we're finally picking up. And yeah, this was one of my favourite things on the show. But next up, we got my favourite thing on the show. By far, by leaps and goddamn bounds, this was the best thing on the show. The triple threat for the United States Championship as LA Knight, defended against Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. Oh, this was good. This was good triple threat action. This was like fast-paced, really fun, counters to everything, just hella enjoyable. You had LA Knight going after both guys straight away and clocking them in the face, and then them just double super kicking him out of the ring. Then we get Andrade versus Carmelo, and I'm like, yes, okay, we're doing it. And it just got better and better and better. You had Carmelo hitting a springboard. You had Andrade hitting a springboard. You had the insane moonsault thing that Andrade does that I love, where he moonsaults and then he moonsaults again. And it was awesome. It was so good. This is like one of my favourite WWE matches of the year. And I love the finish as well. The finish was so unbelievably good. Like, it looked sick. Carmelo Hayes, he got a really good near fall, by the way, by hitting the nothing but net on LA Knight, which looked awesome. And then you had sort of him go for, I don't know what he called it, it's like the tilt-a-whirl facebuster. He goes for the tilt-a-whirl facebuster on Andrade, and while he has Andrade like that, LA Knight comes in and hits the BFT for the 1, 2, 3. I think it was great. Like, I have no complaints about this. Sure, maybe Andrade could have won, maybe Carmelo could have won, but I'm just happy I got a banging match, because I was worried I wasn't going to get one on this show. And this, yeah, I'm so happy this was on the card. The mid-card title scene for both brands, I think, needs to be more of a focus on pay-per-views. Get the fucking tag titles on as well, please. Motor City Machine Guns have them now, so can we please get them on pay-per-view? Yeah, this was awesome. This was an awesome, awesome triple threat. And then we had the main event. We had Cody Rhodes taking on Gunther for the Crown Jewel Championship. I thought this was good. This was good. This wasn't as amazing as I hyped it up to be in my mind, because I was really excited for this. And maybe I got myself too hyped. But I don't think this was as good as Cody versus AJ. And I don't think this was as good as Randy versus Gunther from Bash in Berlin. But it was really, really good. Helped by the crowd. I think the crowd were really, 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 really hot for this one. They were insanely hyped for this match. And yeah, it started off really cool with just chain wrestling. I was like, yes, graps. We're getting graps. It's Gunther versus Cody. Of course we're getting graps. And you started with graps. Then you had Gunther continuously going for that choke. He wants to tap out Cody, and Cody fighting back, vigorously fighting back. And you had the chops. You had a really nice bit where he goes for the bionic elbow and Gunther just chops the piss out of him. And I loved it. I thought that was really, really good. And I feel like it was just kicking into that next gear when it ended, because you had the near falls. You had a near fall off a Crossroads. You had a near fall off a powerbomb from Gunther. And then just as it was getting going, I was like, okay, they're getting into the final stretch now. They're getting into the final stretch. Cody goes up for the Cody cutter. Gunther catches him in a choke. And I was like, yes, that looks awesome. And Cody rolls him back 1, 2, 3 and pins him. And I was like, oh, I feel like you just had a little bit more left. And I think they're probably saving that. I think they've probably left us wanting more, because this is a big match that we are probably going to see again in the future. But in the moment, I was like, oh, no. I was like, I wanted more. I wanted more of this. And yeah, then you get the big celebration with Liv, Triple H, Crown Prince, and Cody holding the belts, and that takes us off the air. It was I'm torn on this. I didn't think it was particularly good, Crown Jewel, and I was left wanting more. The triple threat match I thought was awesome. The main event I thought was good. The angle with Kevin Owens and Randy I thought was good. But the rest of the stuff is take it or leave it at best for me, which is why I probably give Crown Jewel 2.5 out of 5. Like, I think it's one of the weaker shows of the year. Yeah, didn't gel with this particularly well. And I'm sure this is going to go down well for the people who watch it. I'm going to watch that dislike bar. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Were you a fan? Were you not? Let me know and I'll try and reply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.